You study magic at the top school in the world. Your village saved every penny to send you, but you suck. You find the spells hard to pronounce and memorize. They always feel odd, till one day you discover something called a dictionary and you see everyone is pronouncing them incorrectly. The words felt wrong, they always had. Each sound would clatter from my mouth like a tipsy person stumbling out of the pub. They were clumsy, not quite right, and off. I looked up from my thoughts, brought back to reality by an annoyed voice. "Are you even listening to me, Brian?" asked Philippa. Though she was a full foot shorter than I, being a halfling, she still managed to look down on me. Her bossy brows furrowed, and she shook her raven black hair. "I swear, you're hopeless. If this is the kind of attention span you expect to have in class, you'll be held back." "Sorry," I said. "I guess I'm just nervous. My first year at the academy, you know about my speech problem." I felt the old familiar embarrassment creeping into the pit of my stomach, filling its place there like a dog curling up at the foot of its master's bed. "Brian, you might be fumble-mouthed, but you're one of the brightest wizards I've met. Honestly, you'll be fine. I hear the academy has speech healer." "I don't want speech therapy," I interrupted. "Do you have any idea how many speech healers I've seen?" "Brian, No." I almost shouted, the embarrassment and anger burning in my heart. "Just leave it alone, Philippa. Please. I've seen person after person, magician after magician. They can't explain what's going on with me. I doubt the experts at the academy will be any different. They'll just disappoint me again." She looked hurt, and I felt my anger wash away like sand in the tide, leaving empty regret and embarrassment in its place. Her pain turned to anger as she stood, bolt upright. "Fine, if you want to wallow in self-pity, go ahead, I won't stop you." With that, she stormed out of the room. "Philippa, wait," the door shut to the coach. I closed my eyes and leaned my head back against the headboard. Taking her advice, I wallowed in my self-pity. The coach landed in between a clearing of trees, flashing light spells there to guide us on our descent. As always, the lights were dim and inconsistent, flashing their staccato rhythm and sharp counterpoint to the other lights. The old itch in the back of my brain told me that this was wrong. Those lights should be beacons, great blazing things which would turn night into day. Not these anemic puffs of light. I shook my head, and braced for the impact. As we touched down, the enchanted wooden wheels screeching against the stone, the entire coach shook and rattled as though a dragon was rampaging nearby. The itch returned, I ignored it. Once things settled down and injuries were seen too, we got off the now slightly broken flying coach. I stepped down the steps, being met by a crowd of officials, students, and teary-eyed family. In vain I swept my eyes across the crowd, searching for any hint of a familiar face. The only one I recognized was Philippa, and she pointedly ignored my gaze. Embarrassed, I turned and inspected the coach. It was a massive thing, with 8 doors on either side. Most of the cheaply made windows were broken, thick and sturdy wooden planks now sported hairline fractures spider webbing its surface. Already, wizards swarmed over it, casting spells and enchantments to fix what was broken, and heal what was fractured. The itch almost burned inside my head. I shook myself and turned once more to Philippa, walking towards her sheepishly. Her shoulders stiffened as I approached, but I must have seemed more pathetic than usual, as she relaxed her posture inside. "Are you sorry?" She looked me up and down and said with a smile, "Well, I know you're sorry, but I still need to hear it." I bowed my head. I am sorry. I just worked so hard. At this point, the only reason I'm here is because I scored perfectly on theory. I feel like an imposter. What initiate to the Ashford Academy can't even cast a spell? I feel like a fraud. She rested her hand on my wrist. "You'll make it through this. You're the smartest person I know." She gave me a playful punch in the thigh. "Don't ever tell anyone I said that." I smiled, and she laughed. We both turned as a booming voice interrupted the chatter. Welcome first-year initiates to the prestigious Ashford Academy. By your being here tonight, you have shown yourselves to be the best of the best. If you take in your peers surrounding you, you just might notice that there are quite a few more people than you may expect. A quick glance confirmed this, there being well over 300 students in attendance. "Well," boomed the smiling old man, "this will not continue to be the case for long. The best-kept secret of this initiation will now be revealed to you." He strode out into the plaza, waving his hands and shaping words which grated on my mind. With a thunderclap, a display appeared in the sky. On it were 100 numbered spaces, each empty of names. The man twirled in his starry robes, holding his hands out to the crowd. "Only 100 of you will be allowed to join the university. The remaining 250 hopefuls will be taken to a lesser, but still fine learning institution. Well, those who survive anyway. This forest is home to many things forgotten, and many things best left forgotten. There is a very real risk that death might occur. So, if you fear death, turn back now. Be warned, however, that any who leave now will be barred from practicing magic altogether. Make this choice wisely. You have 5 minutes to prepare." Again he waved his hands and incanted. A beacon of light appeared in the distance. "Make your way to the light. Good luck, and don't die." With that, the wizard vanished, and the station filled with chatter. I felt my heart drop into the soles of my feet. I would have to drop out. There was no way I could make it to the academy. I had no magic. No way to defend myself against the trials that would come. I couldn't float across chasms, I was hopeless at making fire, in short, I was stuck. My internal worrying was interrupted by a warm hand wrapping around mine. Philippa. Brian, calm down. I'll help you get through this. Stick with me, and we'll both be at the academy before dinner time. Her words calmed me, my pounding heart taking the cue to stop trying to beat out of my chest. Okay. Thank you, I can do this, we can do this. We changed into our only greenish clothing. Philippa creating a shimmering wall of opaque energy behind which we could take turns changing. That done, we decided to leave our luggage behind, reasoning it was better to write home for clothes than to die in the forest. We noticed that several initiate hopefuls had decided that potential death was well worth the embarrassment of a poor wardrobe and decided not to follow our lead. Instead, they created floating platforms on which to haul their luggage. We set off into the ominous forest behind a pack of eager wizards. Like them, we were trying to make a straight line for the beacon in the distance. After all, the less time spent in the woods, the more time we might have to be alive in. We jogged behind, following the path the man and woman literally cut into the woods. Rotating blades glinted in the moonlight, cutting through the underbrush just ahead of the pack. For the first several minutes, the jog was uneventful, though it strained my underdeveloped cardiovascular system. Shortly afterwards, things got complicated very quickly. The young man at the head of the group screamed, and disappeared. The group stopped, stunned, speechless. That is, until we thought to look up. Then the screaming started. A group of fang ambushers grinned with rows of gleaming white teeth. One was busy eating something, obviously enjoying its meal. Some managed to cast spells, and even managed to burn several of the gnashing-mouthed creatures, but they still descended on the group in a horde. In moments, 30 of the best and brightest found themselves reduced a little more than nutrients. The rest of us broke and ran. I grabbed Philippa, who seemed determined to cast as many flame spikes as possible, by the hand and pulled her through the underbrush. I felt stinging lashes rip across my skin, thorns, sticks, and jutting rocks nearly tripping me a half-dozen times, but I managed to clear a path for Philippa and put distance between us and the screaming. Just as I was about to stop and breathe, I felt the ground beneath me shift, and the world went black. I woke to the frantic sound of my name being screamed. Brian, Brian? Oh, by I.O., Brian? You better be alive. I groaned loudly. Brian, oh, I'll be praised, you're alive. Listen, I'm out of spell slots for the next few hours. I need to go get help. Don't mind me. I called out. I'm okay, something broke my fall. I was of course, lying, mostly anyway. Pain blossomed in just about every part of my body, but as a positive note, there was pain in every part of my body. I wasn't paralyzed. What I wasn't lying about was the bit about something breaking my fall. I rolled over and found something curious, a pile of old and somehow pristine books. Okay. She sounded relieved. Just stay down there. I'll get help. Fine, I said, my attention now almost solely on the book. I think I found something to read anyway. You study magic at the top school in the world. Your village saved every penny to send you, but you suck. You find the spells hard to pronounce and memorize. They always feel odd, till one day you discover something called a dictionary and you see everyone is pronouncing them incorrectly. The words felt wrong, they always had. Each sound would clatter from my mouth like a tipsy person stumbling.